My favorite person. I admire him so much. Some good sides of him. I'm always the one that listens to him. He sings his songs for me.
He was cool. He's a nice person.
Victor was exceptionally brilliant. Victor was a genius.
His gift from God was writing. He can write at that tender age of 10 years.
So talented.
Certain people have greatly impacted the lives of others even after their deaths. Persons like our Savior Jesus Christ, Chad Boseman of the popular Wakanda movie. We have persons like Martin Luther King Jr., even our very own Osinachi Nwachukwu in the recent past, just to mention a few. Today we'll be telling you the story of a phenomenal young man. Though I never had the opportunity to meet him during his lifetime, Victor Uwaoma's life and his death has greatly impacted my life as well as the lives of so many others. So today we'll be telling you the story of Victor. We'll be extracting his story, his life, his mistakes, as well as the lessons embedded in his unique heart-rendering story. This is the Unbroken series, and my name is Chisom Wanori.
He was a very remarkable human being.
Even that name Victor, God told me that he will be called Victor.
Victor, my younger brother, is the only son in the family of 5, 4 girls and just him.
Victor was an elder brother that, he likes cheering you up. That's what I know about him. He likes cheering you up, telling you good things about you. He knows how to do that very well.
He loves to have fun. He had so many friends, friends in school, and I was always looking out for him because it was just the two of us before my other sisters started coming.
He was a very jovial child, but he was a person of few words. He doesn't talk too much.
Growing up with Victor was fun. We were a close-knit family, God-fearing, we were brought up in the fear of the Lord. My dad being a pastor and being his immediate younger sister, I was like a shadow. Everywhere he went, I would tag along. He did somersaults, I would do same. He climbed trees. It was just a lovely childhood.
Dechemi, that's what I call him. He's my favorite person amongst all my elder ones because I'm the last born, I'm the last one in the family. He's my favorite person. I admire him so much because the way he talks, the things he tells me, even when people around in the family, they don't really see some good sides of him. I'm always the one that listens to him. He sings his songs for me. He tells me about his big ambitions and a lot of things about him that others don't know that I know.
Personally, I call him Chineme. I love the Igbo part of his name than the Victor. He's a calm person. I believe most of the things I know today, maybe he was also involved. I've learned a lot from him, from Chineme, from Victor. He was cool. He's a nice person. He's always calm. The only thing he needs from you, while we're growing up, the only thing I can always say about him, he needs his space. He's this person that don't want you to control him. Just free him, allow him. You can leave Victor with your friends. Maybe he's not used to those people. You see, go back and meet him and there'll be no issue. They'll be they always want to come around and see him. Maybe they'll ask after him. They want to have him around because it's like we just found out that he has so many things to offer.
Level of intelligence, right from when we were kids, he amazed everyone. Victor was displaying some level of IQ and intelligence that was way beyond our age.
Victor was exceptionally brilliant. I'm not saying it because he's my brother. Victor was a genius. Let me use that word.
His gift from God was writing. He can write at that tender age of 10 years.
He could write proposals that people abroad would want to use for their projects in Nigeria.
Yeah, one unique thing about him I know is that he's so talented. In his nature, he is a gifted human being.
He's really up there. He's very brilliant. Among the five of us, I know it's not that we are doses, we are brilliant, but Victor's own is just out of the ordinary. Yes, that's the word.
One unique thing I know about Victor is that he doesn't hold anything gross against anybody. If you like beat him, if you like call him anything, the next moment he will come. How are you? Can I talk to you? He will try to make that case to come down. He doesn't hold grudges.
Victor was a young man born into a Christian home. He had a bright future, parents and siblings all there for him. But what actually went wrong?
Okay, that was after school. Secondary school. When he was in Lagos.
I started noticing a strange attitude around in Victor when he came back from Lagos. You see, after his high school, after he left high school, my uncle, his name is Vincent, he's now in Sierra Leone. He came from Lagos to pick him up. Then he was in the military, so he took him to Lagos and he stayed a couple of months. I can remember my mom wasn't in support of it, but somehow it happened. So he went to Lagos and stayed a couple of months, and then he came back. And I just noticed that there was a nonchalance about him. There was a level of insensitivity.
When he started smoking, I was very young then. I noticed that he started keeping late nights. He doesn't come back home on time. Sometimes at 2 a.m. in the night, he will come knocking. He became withdrawn. He's no more that playful. I'll be looking to talk to him. He say I talk too much, unlike him. That's a bright person he was. He started being moody, looking depressed and all that.
He started withdrawing from us and withdrawing from God, like let me say, like spiritual things. Like when we come out for devotions to pray, you see that Victor will always be sleeping. You understand? You be like, wake up now. Sometimes my dad will say, pray for us. When you now check, the person you told to pray, you find out that he's sleeping. So we have to tap him.
I never see Victor smoke. But when his attitude, his way of life, he wasn't focused again. I knew that something has come wrong.
You noticed that he was not interested in spiritual things anymore. Besides that, he could sing very well.
Yes.
He could sing, but he was no more into all that. He was just like forcing himself to be part of what we were doing, like church activities or prayers, like my sister said, morning devotion. We'll be forcing him to join.
even before he became addicted, Victor wasn't a violent person. He wasn't an extremely wicked person. So the worst things I could say he did was just being insensitive, passive, and okay, probably he could come to you and tell you, I need to get a car, I want to start a taxi business, get a loan, get in the car, and then within a couple of months the car will be nowhere to be found. He must have sold it, and then, I don't know whether he used the money to take drugs, I don't know, but then you ask him about the money and nothing. So those were the kind of things that happened. But he wasn't like a violent person, go out on the street, get into trouble and name someone, no. So it was just those little sparks of insensitivity and disassociation.
When that thing happened, I called him one day. He said, "Mommy, you know me. I will stop it. I will stop it." That was. Then I knew that he was struggling with it.
What prompted Victor's turnaround to Christ? I would say 2022, when my dad had stroke, and Uche, my elder sister, created a WhatsApp group for we siblings to meet and pray and discuss about the issue. And then I noticed Victor joined, he was included, and it had been ages that I've seen Victor actually be coherent. I was so happy. So gradually he started contributing. When there was prayers, he would pray. When we talk about words of exhortation, he would also chip in. We were happy. I was so happy. We engaged him more, and he reciprocated, and it was really amazing. I could see the hand of God on him, gradually turning him around. And then one day he had a dream. He narrated on the page that he had a dream where something was, pressing down on him, trying to choke him, and then he prayed, he cried out to God, and then he slept off, and he had this vision where a man wearing a hooded shirt, or like jalabia, just jumped out of his body, and a wall appeared in front of him, and he climbed into the wall and disappeared, and immediately he felt relief. So we were very happy. We all thanked God for the testimony. And after that day, it was a major turnaround. I noticed that Victor started being more conscious of spiritual things, unlike before. And then when we discussed about it in the group, he said from that day when he had that visitation, he never had the urge to smoke again. And I believed him, because everything about him became coherent. He was the Victor that I knew before.
I had a dream about him in 2010. And in that dream, I saw some ungodly people carry him in a casket, an open casket. And they thought he was dead, but only me knew he was still alive. So we planned his escape, me and him. He came out of that casket and we began to run. Those people were chasing us, and then we reached a very big gate. We eluded the gatekeepers and ran out. Outside was so beautiful. It was like a paradise. Fruits, palm fruits. So he ran ahead of me and disappeared. I didn't see him again. Then I woke up, I told him that dream in 2010. So it was not a surprise to me when the changes started.
He said he used to feel somebody wants to cause him not to breathe. That is, in the spirit world, somebody is sleeping. You dream that you cannot breathe. So he will be choking.
Struggling.
So he will wake up, say, what is happening to me? So that thing, he did not tell anybody. But by then, the sister has formed the family WhatsApp group. So he now reported it on the WhatsApp that he had that thing for one weekend. Then he couldn't breathe. He woke up, and it was then it drawn to him that this thing is not ordinary. Then he has to take his Bible and start reading, because we have already been telling him that whatever he is facing is because of the inner crisis, spiritual inner crisis with God. That is what we normally tell him, and we are praying for him. So I told him one day, I will never give up praying for you, because I know you are a seed of God. The devil want to destroy you, but God is your deliverer.
He started having attacks. Right when he left for Abuja, he left us saying we are going to Abuja to stay. He was having attacks, both his health and spiritual attacks at night. He didn't even tell us what he was going through. And he decided to handle it on his own. So he started seeking God, started reading his Bible and began to pray. Victor prayed and delivered himself from that strong addiction of smoking.
When that thing happened, he said one night he couldn't sleep. He said maybe if he sleeps small, he will be snoring too high. He will even hear himself snoring. So he woke up, take his Bible and started reading his Bible, claiming God's promises, telling God to forgive him, going back to God in a serious way, because his heart was broken. He now remembered all those things we have been telling him. He was alone in the house at Abuja. So as he was doing those things, until sleep carried him again, it was then he saw that dream of somebody jumping out of him. Then the Spirit of God told him, this is the strong man that wanted to destroy you. But through your prayer and promises of God, claiming the promises of God, God has sent his angel and he has disappeared.
So I had a dream before he called us to tell us that he has stopped smoking, that he couldn't even stand the smell of smoke anymore. So I had a dream, it was like he came home and I saw someone that was following him everywhere he was going, like no breathing space, there was no gap between them. That was gone to him, following him everywhere. So in that day I now woke up and I told my mom. My mom said yes, that spirit, that personality I saw, whatever, that entity, that's the spirit that been disturbing Victor. Well, actually my brother was diagnosed of kidney failure. Yeah, so at Abuja then, when he has already started consecrating himself after his 21 days fasting, and he joined the group, our family group, and we started discussing in a higher level about God and everything. All of a sudden he now told us that he's not feeling too well, that he went to the hospital for a checkup and they told him about this, that he doesn't believe it, that it's not possible, that he's having kidney failure.
He said he was having this this sick feeling, like he had malaria, like he had typhoid. So we asked him to go treat himself, which he would do, but then after a couple of weeks or a month, he would feel same again, And I was wondering, like, okay, what sort of illness is this? What could it be? So I kept telling him when we spoke on the phone to rest. It could be exhaustion, maybe he's doing too much, at once. He should just take it easy.
The fiancée, the girl he wanted to marry, came to visit him, and the girl now take him to hospital with some neighbors around. So when he reached the hospital, they now diagnosed that he has kidney problem, and they put him on bed. Even it was so very bad that he couldn't breathe. Sometimes he couldn't breathe. He said the only time he is breathing is calling Jesus. 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 That calling of Jesus, his breath will go up, will come down. So that was how he was for 4 hours before they brought oxygen.
After he went through his dialysis in Abuja, and there was a miracle that happened, that he called us early in the morning and was screaming. He said, I'm healed, I'm healed. I got a surgery in the dream. The angels did surgery on me. I saw it, everything was real. I was two in a bed, and they were harvesting something from these organs from this other body and was transplanting to the other body. And after everything, during that process, there was a song that was going on in the background. They were singing, he is faithful, he's so faithful to fail me. Yes. And after everything, that he had a sound. I know there was a voice that now said, if I could do this for others, what about my own son? So he had a sound as if his tummy was resetted, like everything just, there was a resetting in his body. So he now woke up, and after he said he woke up, all the pains of the dialysis, all those things, he was kind of free. Like he thought he's been completely healed. So he said that I'm going to travel, I'm coming home. So he came home. When he came home, he was a new person. He was like the Victor, even better than the one we used to know before all the smoking started. My brother was a different human being. There was this glory that was radiating around him that is not possible to explain. I can't explain anything about that because it's beyond my imagination. It's beyond what I can, try to put into words. I'll just say the little I can say.
I can remember vividly walking into the house that day to greet him. I started to see someone weak, that is sick. But he stood up and hugged me. He has never hugged me in my life before. But he hugged me and hugged my husband. And he was radiant. His face was shining. His face, he looked 15 years younger. I was like, so my brother is this handsome? I was just looking at him. Even his hair was changed. So he started giving us testimonies of what happened in the hospital in Abuja. And then I told him, so kidney failure can make someone look this fine. He was laughing.
When you look at him, it's Victor, but you're seeing something else. There's this glory that was covering him that is unexplainable.
Before the Lord took him home, that very week we went to hospital, did communion with him, was singing throughout. We even have another encounter in the hospital that he called us very early in the morning, around 4 o'clock in the morning, was saying that God, he has seen in Jeremiah that those demons, they used to come and try to force him to either through the nose or through the mouth. But he said in Jeremiah should come and fight these demons. That night in Jeremiah came. And my small grandson, also God revealed it to him. He came and said, Grandma, I saw Uncle Victor with angels. They were boxing those monsters. He will demonstrate it. So I baffled. So when I went to hospital, he told me the same thing. I baffled. He said, what? This is somebody I've been praying to come to God. He's now seeing heaven, seeing the angels, God talking to him. So it baffles me. He even prayed to people in the hospital. One man that looks insane, the doctors come, he will be fighting the doctors, fighting the nurses, doesn't allow them to put drip. But Victor laid hand on his wife because his bed was next to his own, and the wife laid hand on him, and Victor prayed. This man slept half the day. When he woke up, he started taking his medicine. There was no other hurt.
Victor stood up from his sick bed. He was energized. He went to other patients. He, preached Christ to them. He laid hands on them and they recovered. They actually recovered. Testimonies everywhere. His friends were calling us that they saw Victor in the dream, coming to them, ministering to them, laying hands on them, preaching the gospel to them in the dream. It was wonderful. So we naturally felt that the next thing is for him to leave the hospital and then start a ministry, get towards helping youths who are addicted.
So I said, with this power, if we get up from here, two things he's going to face. Drug addicts, will preach to them, preach to his own cousins, preach to everybody, go to hospital, pray for the sick. That he knows the power of God in him. If he lay hand on the sick will recover. That was what he said. He even called one of his friends in Malaysia and told him the same thing.
When I heard about his testimonies, my sister said that he saw himself as light in the dream, and he was radiating light, that he was in a village and everywhere was dark. And then suddenly there was light everywhere. Lo and behold, light was coming out of his body. So that was the testimony that made me quickly run down to that hospital. I wanted to hear from him how everything happened. So when I got there, he said, "Sink him, draw a chair and sit down." So I sat down. He said, "That dream you had in 2010 had been fulfilled today." He repeated it and then told me I should narrate the dream to him again. And I narrated it. He said, yes, that he too has seen that city full of fruits, that he has actually seen it with his eyes, that he knows he has seen that city. So he told me that, do I know that people can sing and their legs will be floating on the ground? But wow, where did you see that? He said, he laughed and said, you know me now. He said, the 24 elders are the 24 hours of the day. He said, telling me mysteries about the Bible. He told me that Jesus, how he died and went to hell and took the keys of hell and death. And as he's saying this, he'll be speaking in tongues, closing his eyes. His love for God was beyond the human understanding. I was like, Jesus, you have become Jesus. He smiled and said, I'm Jesus. I said, yes, I've had a dream where I told people I'm Jesus. So that means that he became a celestial being. Meditating with him, you could feel it. You could feel God, the glory of God radiating from him. Honestly, I never knew that God can make someone's life that beautiful.
I was even telling him, you have to come and stay in my house. I just wanted him to come and stay a little around me and the children. You understand? There's this thing about him. It was pulling me. You hunger for it. You want to stay very close to him.
This is someone that he's not a pastor, he's not a bishop, but he's a man trying to find his way back. Then where did this glory come from? Where did this radiance, where did this peace come from? He was peaceful. He's not bothered about whether he's going to die or not. He wasn't bothered about the different projects he had doing, ongoing. He never talked of those things. He kept talking about angels, about heaven, about the glory of God. So that was the happiest day of my life. I was like, Jesus, is this real? Is this really my brother? I kept staring at him. I was speechless.
It was something else. It was in the hospital that he now had more encounters with heaven, with God. It was in the hospital I listened to him. He said, Jesus, now send me Angel Michael to destroy this demon of smoking. He said, my ministry now, as I'm coming out of this hospital, I'm going for the lost, the men and women that have been, the devil has held captive in this smoke and in this life of smoking and wasting their life, wastage of all their talents and everything that God has bestowed upon them.
In that hospital, that was where his ministry started. He began to pray for the sick. At a time, he stood up with blood dripping from his hand. He didn't even mind. Was praying, lifting his hands, the way he praised and all that.
So at the hospital, he wasn't focusing on himself. That was one thing that we noticed. He was focusing on what he wants to do for God. He was focusing on the things that he was supposed to do. He was just focusing on a lot of things. My brother never for once say, sisters, how are we going to do to let me get healed? That was one thing I've never heard from him. Like, are we going to do a transplant? Even when I came, there was one hospital we were supposed to contact from India. I was like, why is it that you have not contacted these people? I gave you every information. He just, just shifted that aside.
Okay, when I got home, the next day he called me that he wants to go swimming. The excitement in his voice, he was like someone that has won visa to abroad. There is no sign of sickness in his voice, but his voice is always very loud, unlike him. The day he was discharged the next day, so his voice was very loud on the phone, and he was asking me where he could go swimming. So I told him where he could go swimming. Then I didn't hear from him again till the evening, when we had a call that he's again being hospitalized. But before that time, he, at home, when he got home from the hospital, he stopped taking his drugs. He said he doesn't need the drugs anymore, that he's fine. He stopped taking his drugs. He didn't see any need. As in, the sickness was no more, he wasn't afraid of the sickness at all. That fear, he didn't have fear of death or sickness. He saw himself as someone that is okay. So he stopped taking his drugs and he made peace with all his friends. Even there's a guy called David George he was owing. He paid the guy his money. He made peace with everybody. He made peace with himself and he made peace with God. That morning, they said very early in the morning, he woke up by 5:30, called everybody for devotion, and he was singing a song. The Lord has opened the doors of glory for me to come in. So that is the meaning of that song. It was an Igbo song. And he sang another one, how precious, O Lord, is your unfailing love. So after singing these two songs, he made declarations that the altar of God will be established in this home forever. After he said that, he read from Psalm 84. How amiable are the tabernacles, O Lord. If you read that Psalms, it's all talking about being with God in glory. So Victor knew and he was prepared.
He was actually fed up. He made up his mind to leave. But he doesn't know how to pass it to us, because we will not accept. We will never accept. You understand? But Victor has already settled with God right from Abuja before he came down. That was the message. That was what we later found out. That was what God actually made us to understand. He already settled with his God to go before he just came to stay with us, so that we will feel the new him and have a testimony, what to tell people, and see how Christ himself has transformed him to the nature of God, to be like Christ. Because my brother will tell you that today I was in a dream, I was radiating light. People were running and coming to me. Why? Because of the light that was coming out of him. But he didn't know that the light he was seeing, those radiations and everything, was his spiritual body, is the person that he has already turned into. This flesh was already gone. Because when you look at him, you see the glory. Even with your naked eye, you'll be like, wow, his hair was transformed, shiny, kind of. Everything was, we didn't understand.
After he was discharged from the hospital, he called me the next day and told me he wants to go swimming, if I knew any swimming pool around. So I directed him. He went and swam and came back. Then in the evening, in the night, my sister called that he's no more breathing, that he's now unconscious, kind of. So my husband rushed down to go and join them, to take him to the hospital or assist in any way he can. While me, I was at home praying on my own, singing, and then I had this dream towards morning. I won't really call it a dream because I was very conscious of what was happening around. Someone just walked in and covered me with a cloth and told me that we are victorious, that there was a battle, but we are victorious. So when I woke up, I thought maybe he's now fine. I didn't know that was him coming to tell me that he's no more here. He has gone to be with the Lord.
If I could show you the pictures of when the morning he died, he has already, after some hours, I snapped him. He's already, everything. I put on a cap on him, a camel cap. He was looking like he was sleeping. People were passing by and was greeting the both of us because I couldn't leave the car. I stayed in the car for like 3 hours with his dead body because there was this strength that was coming into my body. I don't know where it was coming from. I slept off with his corpse in the car for like 3 hours. Everybody were calling me in the house, even my children. They say, your children is crying, come and eat now. You people, nobody knew what I was experiencing. With that body in that car, I felt I was like thousands of angels. This energy, I was having so much strength was pumping inside of me, and I was happy. I was just snapping him. I was snapping sometimes. I would not sleep off. He would just be there. When I wake up, people will be passing, good morning sir, good morning ma. I will answer them. They didn't know I was sitting with the corpse. So everything about Victor was glorious.
They started calling me to come to the church where they were. When I got there, I saw his face. All the pains of his past, as I thought he was sleeping, his face was so peaceful. There was no sign that this person struggled with death. He was just closing his eyes a bit, relaxed, kind of he was smiling in his sleep. So because of that, all the sorrows of his passing just left me. I wasn't sad, and we were all like, okay, let's take him back home and see how mommy then will react. But when we brought him back home, we called Koneka to talk to them first. After he spoke to them, mommy just came out and said, Victor, my son, amen, go and be with the Lord. As in, she was so strong. She didn't shed tears. She didn't fall on the ground and roll. Same with my dad. So we were all wondering, where is this consolation coming from, if not from God?
Like, it was like a portal was opened for us from heaven when my brother passed, because I can remember very well at the car when he was lying there. We now decided, they called my cousins, my senior cousins, everybody came around. We decided the mortuary to go and drop him and everything. So, and I drove to that place with my strength. I was so strong. As I said earlier on, I had a supernatural strength. So, when we drove to the mortuary, we dropped him and everything. That was when, immediately he left my car, they carried him inside there. It was as if I came back to myself. Like all those strength and everything, I was not calm. That was even when he dawned to me that he was gone.
Victor's story was quite emotional and heart-rending, but he was indeed a messenger, and his message was simple: to usher believers and unbelievers back to becoming like Christ, just as Jesus ushered us into the new covenant. And this was very evident in the short period of time Victor lived in righteousness. Victor was one of such people who came for a specific purpose on earth. He was an only son and was expected by his family and the society to achieve great things, but God had other plans for him. One would spot some similarities between Victor's story and that of Christ. Being also the only son of God, Jesus lived just at 3 years and achieved such a surmountable feat of securing our salvation. Thankfully though, Victor always journaled his life's journey. But no one seemed interested, neither did they understand why he did that at the time. He journaled his songs, he journaled his psalms, and he journaled the revelations he received from God. Victor had his testimony that he never left God, contrary to everyone's belief. Victor indeed battled and fought as the enemy ganged up to extinguish the light of God in him. But God was with him till the very end. At the tail end of his life, he became transformed like Christ, a new creature, bought by the blood of Christ and created in his image. So what's our take from today's story? Being like Christ or being a Christian is not just an act, it's a lifestyle. It's having Christ in our conscience, in our mind, in our thoughts, in our feelings, and subjecting all our human senses and desires to his will. Victor saw a glimpse of heaven and he gave up everything, including himself. So the question is, what are you willing to give up for the kingdom of God? Victor made peace with God, with himself, and even with the people that hurt him the most. Victor knew the time of his visitation. What about you? The message is simple. No matter what you're going through, be reassured that God will never forget you and he will make the best of every circumstance in your life, even the worst situations. Trust God completely. Let go of every work of darkness, and the good God that received and recovered Victor, he transformed him and glorified him, would restore you as well. We would like to say many thanks to Victor Uwaoma's family and his friends for taking the pain of putting this documentary together. We pray that the very essence of this documentary is achieved and the lives of many impacted to the glory of God. Thank you so much for watching. I remain your host, Chisumwano. God bless you.